I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup getting ready to take on one of the baddest miles on the planet, Dover Motor Speedway. It's called a self-cleaning racetrack for those 24-degree bank corners and almost as much on the straightaways. Greg Ray holds the track record here, set back in an IndyCar in the late 90s of 19 and change seconds. I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to that tonight. But we are looking forward to a great race and what is going to be an absolutely monster top split. 26 cars on the entry list means 13 and 13 across two splits. 39-26 is your SOF for tonight's race. And, man, this is going to be a good one. Taking a look at the championship standings heading into tonight's race, Thomas Lewandowski holding a pretty sizable margin over Josh Bautista. James Watson, Derek Love, and Matthias Swank complete the top five in the point standings. My name is Chris Graham. This is going to be a good one. Let's pick up one of the fastest cars you'll see all night here. Larry Pace heading out onto the racetrack. And it is already time for qualifications. Derek Love quickly moving to the top of the speed charts with a lap time of 21.490 seconds. Larry Pace in second quick, now dropping down to the third position at 21.490. Joe Gauthier only 5/100ths back in the second position, 21.315. Lap number 2 for Pace as he's off of turn number 4. He will move to quick time 21.203, 21.20 with a 3 for Larry Pace. D-Love not able to improve, at least the position anyway. Thomas Lewandowski to the top of the board. Oh my goodness, that was quick. Lewandowski 21.143. That was a heater. Pick up Todd Taylor, who is out on the racetrack now. James Watson, Jeffrey Stanton, Josh Bautista also on the speedway as we speak. Taylor carrying the number 13 tonight will pick up the red Ream Rocket of Josh Bautista way up towards the top side of the racetrack, running that Harry Gant line through 3 and 4. Bautista's first lap going to be 21.744 seconds. Todd Taylor going to be inside the top 10 with a lap time of 21.737 seconds. James Watson has not gotten on to lap number 1 yet. Jeffrey Stanton is out on the board. Lap number 2 for Bautista will go third quick. Nice lap for Bautista, 21.219 seconds. Let's pick up Jeffrey Stanton, who's working his second qualification lap in the Napa Auto Parts, Rockwell, North Carolina, number 94. Down over the start-finish line for lap number 2, and Stanton will move up into position number 8. Off the turn number 2, working lap number 1 is James Watson. He finished second in the 6:45 race that ran earlier tonight. That race absolutely dominated by Thomas Lewandowski. Watson a little bit frustrated with the car setup heading into tonight's race. But, man, lap number 1 is a good one. 21.252 seconds, only a tenth off of the quick time, and 18 thousandths back to Derek Love to be on the outside of road number 2. Off of 3 and 4 for the final time. Watson over the line. That will be the end of qualifications. And Watson improves, but not enough to move him up inside those top two rows. So James Watson going to roll off tonight inside of row number 3. Field getting out onto the starting grid. Let's take a look. We'll give you the wide shot here down the front straightaway. And we'll give you a look at tonight's starting grid. On the pole will be, well, let's see, make sure all the paint schemes are going to show up here right for you. But on the pole with a lap time of 21.144 seconds in the Team Watson Racing setup, Smart Sports National Racing Network number 3, it is New York's Thomas Lewandowski. To his outside, carrying the number 1 will be from the Great White North, Mr. Larry Pace. Only 60 thousandths of a second back was that number 1 machine here in qualifications. Row number 2 tonight, the red Ream Rocket belonging to Josh Batista, 75 thousandths back. Ream.com Ream on the side of that machine. To his outside, the Street Side Classics, number 2 of Derek Love. Again, we still don't have a tenth of a second going back through the top 4 cars. Got to go back to the 5th position, well, technically 6th, I guess, to find a tenth of a second. That'll be James Watson of the Team Watson Racing Setups, National Racing Network, Martin Sports, number 39. He will be the 5 in your timing and scoring out of the state of Ohio. To his outside, in the Dienst Farms, number 4, driven to save lives, also on the side of that machine, or at least it will be after tomorrow. It will be Brandon Buckberger trying to put a little bit more cash in the till, making a donation to Driven to Save Lives for every podium finish this season. We want to say a big thank you to Brandon for that. Row number 4 tonight will be the Dizzy V Designs T. Watson Racing Setups, number 98 of Vic Aldrich. Lining up to his outside, the Spotify, number 10 of Joe Gauthier. 5th row tonight will be the Napa Auto Parts, Rockwell, North Carolina, number 94, Jeffrey Stanton. North Carolina native will show up as the number 6 on your timing and scoring screens. Lining up to his outside will be the number 9, the Kibu entry of Lauren Gerhardt from Germany. Row number 6 tonight, Todd Taylor out of South Carolina alongside of Brian Elmore. Row number 7, the final car to make the grid, the Boomer Button Boxes, number 84 of Pennsylvania's Kyle Westwood. 13 cars on the grid this evening for 80 laps around the Dover Motor Speedway. Pace car is in the field, getting ready to turn him loose. Very quickly to the green goes Lewandowski. He's on the loud pedal off of 4, and we're underway here at Dover. Field very quickly getting single file, and it's going to be Thomas Lewandowski leading lap number 1. Josh Batista moving up a position into 2nd. Derek Love up 1 to 3rd. Brandon Buckberger up 2 into 4th position. Larry Pace falling 3 spots down to back into position number 5, and he's under attack early by James Watson. One of the big things that the drivers dealt with in the earlier split tonight was the weather conditions, and they will absolutely be coming into play for this race as well. 71-degree ambient temperature, but a 97-degree track temp. The 6:45 race was right around 100 degrees, a little over. It was, well, I will say, I finished 3rd in that 6:45 race, and it was wholly unpleasant the longer you got into the run. Car wanted to start tight, it got very, very loose about the midpoint of the race, and then just progressively got tighter and tighter. But now Pace going to have the look back underneath of Watson. They're going to trade crossovers at each end of the racetrack. On the start-finish line, still going to be Larry Pace in position number 5. Brandon Buckberger making the move inside of Derek Love off of turn number 2. He'll get that pass completed. Love slots back down to the inside of the racetrack. Starts to slide up, and now Pace going on the attack. I don't quite know that we can call that one a 2-for-1 blue light special. but it may be if James Watson's able to get inside. That would be a 3-for-1. D-Love falling back to position number 5. Brandon Buckberger now up to 3rd, and only about 4/10 back of your race leader. With the strength of field as high as it is, you can kind of expect that we may not see a caution, but we say that. Kyle Westwood bounces it off the outside safer barrier, exiting turn number 2, and he's going to have to bring that 84 machine down on the pit lane. Oh, and then he spins it out. He will have to take the tow, but we will stay under green. Let's go on board here with Brandon Buckberger trying to chase down Josh Batista and Thomas Lewandowski. Those guys just up ahead. You start to see the slip angle a little bit there. In the 20 of Batista at the exit of turn number 4. The back end of the car just wants to step out, and now Buckberger is going to be able to have the look on Batista. Man, that's such a tight move exiting too. The car just wants to spin itself out towards the outside wall. Batista able to clear down. Man, again, the car just gets a little bit loose in the middle of turn number 4. Put Brandon Buckberger up to position number 2. Larry Pace now looking inside of Batista. Pace able to now pick up position number 3. We'll swing things back around to the front here because Buckberger starting to close in on race leader Thomas Lewandowski. He's got the gap down inside a quarter of a second. Drivers already off about 3/10 from the best laps they set earlier in this race. Best lap for race leader Thomas Lewandowski, a 21.476. Last time by a 21.799. The lap before that, a 21.801. So already about 3 to 4/10 off of what we're seeing, and the 5-lap averages are bearing that out. 15-lap averages about a 10th quicker as they will come around to complete the 13th circuit around this race course. Field kind of starting to settle themselves in ever so slightly here. James Watson able to get around Derek Love as we were following that one. We'll slide back and pick up the battle now because D-Love going to war with Jeffrey Stanton off of turn number 4. It's going to be a 4-car length advantage for Love. That time by the start-finish line as lap number 15 goes up on the scoreboard. Now Westwood is being scored as out of this race. He will finish in position number 13. Westwood entering the race as car number 11 with a 26.13 I rating. The back of the field all pretty tight. Todd Taylor, the final car to make the cut at a 24.50. Top of the board, Larry Pace. How about 85.90 for the I rating? Up at the front of the field, man, this one's starting to get good. Buckberger right up underneath that tail tank of Lewandowski as they exit turn number 4. Lewandowski, a very nice 69.78 I rating to the 60.28 of Buckberger. And this is more than just I rating trophies and championship points on the line here. If Buckberger is able to pass Lewandowski and claim the win here tonight, that would be a $50 donation to Driven to Save Lives, organization founded in memory of Justin Wilson and Brian Clausen, a couple of IndyCar drivers that we lost back in 2016, both of whom were organ donors. Brian Newman, you saw in the ad, he joined the donor registry after his incident at Daytona several years back. We would encourage you to visit driven2savelives.org. Whether you wish to donate, join the registry, or even just learn about organ and tissue donation, but it is absolutely incredible what the modern marvels of modern medicine can do. And Buckberger really able to send that car deep down to the inside of turn number 1. He's always drives this car really hard. Josh Bautista also going to work on James Watson. That's the battle for the 4th position. We're going to keep things right here at the front, though. Getting to him is one thing. Getting past him is something else completely different. And Thomas Lewandowski proving very difficult to pass here. Running kind of about half a car width off the bottom of the racing surface. That will help save tires ever so slightly. Although tire wear was not nearly as bad as we thought it could be, given the track conditions in the race earlier tonight. Really about managing the weight jacker inside the car and just figuring out how many clicks you had to go to either get it to turn or to get some of the loose out of it. Is Buckberger. Wow, big wiggle off of turn number 4, that time for Buckberger. Lewandowski really ran way up the racetrack through 3 and 4, opened the door for Buckberger. Man, now where does Larry Pace decide to go? Absolutely fantastic battle amongst the top 3 here at the front of the field. They're going to come around to put lap number 24 up on the scoreboard. Pace looks to the outside of Buckberger down towards turn number 1. You see him run real high. It's almost like he's going to try the crossover here. There's the dive down to the inside. I don't know that he's got enough. Well, maybe ever so slightly. Wow, what a pass by Larry Pace. Put the number 1 machine up to P2, and now he's going to try to chase down Lewandowski. The battle for 4th is just as good with Watson, Stanton, Bautista. And maybe we'll include Derek Love in that, back in the 7th position. Definitely going to be a little bit of a disappointment for Derek Love, falling back 3 positions, as did Josh Bautista. We'll slide back and pick up that second battle out here on the racing surface. Mentioned it's Watson, Stanton, and Bautista. James Watson had to have taken a huge swing at that race car in the practice session before this. He was actually running a Lotus 79 about 25 minutes before this race started. Lotus 79's at the Monza Oval. Right-hand turn oval, for that matter. But he was absolutely not happy with how the Team Watson Racing Setup's number 39 entry was performing in that 645 races. Larry Pace looking inside of Thomas Lewandowski. Oh, this one might be a blue light special too. Call it 2 for 1 off of turn number 4. Over the start-finish line, Lewandowski barely able to hold off Buckberger for position number 2. Just saw it at the back of the screen as well. Jeffrey Stanton coming around. James Watson. That's going to put Watson back into 5th. Buckberger able to complete the pass on Lewandowski, but now Thomas going to have the look back inside into 3. Trading crossovers at each end of the racetrack. And here comes Buckberger diving right back inside off of 4. Maybe caught a little bit of the apron because the back end of that car stepped out in a big way. Now it'll be 50 laps to go in this one, rapidly approaching the halfway point. Oh, Jeffrey Stanton may have scraped the outside wall. He did. He slides way up the racetrack. We'll see if there's any damage on the front end of that machine. The front end of the 94 looks okay. See if there's don't see anything really on the right side of it either. So just a couple of positions lost. So we'll go back up to this battle towards the front as Lewandowski and Buckberger. Oh, buddy, hold on to it. Wow. Big push off of 4 that time for Lewandowski. And as these guys are just swapping the second position, Larry Pace is really opening up the gap. It's now up to 0.7 of a second. Oh, there's almost contact. Wow. Oh, buddy, that was tight. Lewandowski really had to back out of it, and the gap opens up. Call it 5 car lengths as they exit turn number 2. We'll move back here and pick up Watson, Batista, and Stanton. Elo's going to be right there at the back of that train as well. Another good battle deeper in the pack here. Brian Elmore, Todd Taylor, and Joe Goff here, all lined up nose to tail. This is going to be 9th, 10th, and 11th on the racetrack. That battle was good, but let's move back up here to this one, because one of the things we talked about was how you were managing the tools inside the car. And if James Watson, Josh Batista, and this crew back here was kind of running a little bit of a conservation strategy, you're going to see them start to eat into the gap at the front of the field. Keep an eye on it. It is now sitting at 3.5 seconds between 3rd place Thomas Lewandowski and 4th place James Watson. Stanton looking to the inside of Batista. He slides up the racetrack ever so slightly. We'll see if Love's going to be able to commit. Oh, and Batista bounces it off the outside safer barrier exiting turn number 2. Same thing. Let's pull up the tight shot. I don't know that he caught it all that hard. The car looks pretty clean as it comes down the front straightaway. Thomas Lewandowski was so dominant in that 6:45 race. He nearly lapped James Watson, who finished 2nd. So this is a big, big swing for that 39 machine. Thomas Lewandowski now starting to fall back from Brandon Buchberger and Larry Pace. It'll be lap number 40 going up on the board next time. We are 1 away from halfway. Cross flags are up from flagman Warren Alston up on the flag stand tonight. He's going to have a workout this weekend. The Ironton Telephone. You can see Ironton Telephone still anyway. Allentown Indoor Race coming up at the PPL Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania. TQ midgets, slingshots, and champ carts running around basically a hockey arena, the floor of a hockey arena. Always a great show. And Buck, you can just see how hungry Buchberger is for this win. Absolutely tucked up underneath the Larry Pace. Actually forcing Pace to kind of shallow up the entry a little bit into turn number 3 that time. By doing that, there's just nowhere for Buchberger to look inside. He does it again into turn number 1. Doing a nice job of keeping that number 1 machine just absolutely plastered to that inside lane. Derek Love getting around Jeffrey Stanton, putting him up to position number 5. But for right now, we're going to keep an eye on the race leaders. This is by far the tightest battle on the racetrack. It's about 0.4 of a second separating that group, each car, from 4th back through 7th. We'll go on board here with Larry Pace. swing the camera around and get you that good look at the Dean's Farms number 4 of Brandon Buckberger. And see that little bit of a twitch. Dover's unique in that it is a racetrack where the corners are dug into the earth instead of being built up. So you kind of, and you'll see it here, you really dive off into the corner. And on corner exit, it really spits you up and the back end of the car starts to get loose. Almost like you're riding over just a big bump every time you enter and exit the corner. At this point, you almost wonder, is Buckberger just kind of sitting there trying to pressure pace into a mistake? 5-lap averages for these cars nearly identical, 22,288 to a 22,286. Well, now it'll be down to 30 laps remaining. And Thomas Lewandowski making up a little bit of ground here. He's cut it down to about 1.8 seconds from about 2.4 seconds a handful of laps ago. And your 2 race leaders starting to come up on lap traffic. The next car in line will be the number 12 of Victor Aldrich. Although Vic, one of the truly nice guys here on the iRacing platform. Oh, there you go. There's a little bit of a bobble by Pace off of 2. Buckberger looking inside for the race lead off of 4. Back end steps away on Buckberger. He has to get right back in line. I would think they will not have an issue getting around Vic Aldrich. However, just ahead of Vic, about 3 seconds up the road, Brian Elmore and Joe Gauthier battling for the 10th position. When you're fighting your own fight like those two are, sometimes can be a little bit difficult to make way for the race leaders. And unlike in Europe, it is not a move over flag. It's a, hey, somebody faster than you's coming flag, which obviously means 2 very, very different things. We'll slide back here to this battle between Watson, Love, Batista, and Stanton once again. That's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 lined up. Watson able to open up that gap ever so slightly, but these guys are running about 6 seconds back of 3rd place Thomas Lewandowski. And gosh, I mean, yeah, about 6.3 seconds back of the race leader. Lewandowski no longer making any time up here. He is back to about 2 seconds back of the top 2. Little twitchy for Batista off of 2 that time. Show you your most positions gained list, your hard charger list. Brandon Buckberger up 4 spots, running in the 2nd position. Jeffrey Stanton is up 2, along with Laura Gerhardt and Todd Taylor. Oh, Watson and Love both twitchy off of 2 that time. And we have a change for the race lead. Let's take a look at it here on the NRN replay. Brandon Buckberger able to get around Larry Pace. Coming up on lap traffic, Buckberger dives way down to the inside. Oh, Pace got the outside wall. There is very heavy right front damage on the car of Larry Pace. You could see it there as that car started to swing wide. And let's pick up Larry Pace here. You can see the big damage on the right front of that number 1 machine. He is going to fall back quickly away from Brandon Buckberger. quite frankly, into the clutches of Thomas Lewandowski for position number 3. $20 to go this time by the start-finish line. The battle for the race lead has cooled down. Derek Love really starting to make a move now on James Watson for position number 4. I don't know that any of these guys have the broadcast on, but if they do, now they know that Larry Pace has had an issue and he will be battling with Thomas Lewandowski before too long. But this was the point in the race where the cars really started to get pushy. You had to back off on the weight jacker, getting it down to like almost a -1, -2. But then when you got down there so the car would turn on entry, it just wanted to absolutely snap loose on corner exit. So if you're going to be trying to work the tools, you got to work it at both ends of the corner. Which for guys of this skill level, not all that unheard of. For guys with my skill level, not a chance that's going to happen. Speaking of guys of my skill level, with the Wednesday night schedule opening up here on the National Racing Network, we put this out there last night during the sprint car broadcast. Let us know in the comments if you want to see me driving these things. We joke about my triple-digit I rating all the time. Do you want to see bottom split racing on Wednesday nights? We'll put it out there to see what, kind of what cars are available and that kind of stuff. But it almost doesn't matter at times because bottom split is, well, borderline terrifying. Doesn't matter what class of car you're in. We'll have America's worst crew chief, Patrick Byrne, handling the spotting duties, but no guarantees that he won't be a six-pack deep when he gets on the mic for those. Oh, buddy, big slide for D-Love off of turn number 4 that time. 15 to go. Jason Gardner checking in. That may be something we have to do. Could do a Daytona 500 bottom split. Would be worlds of fun. It would be worlds of fun for you guys watching. I cannot say the same for myself, but that would be worlds of fun. Running a bottom split Daytona 500. We got to move up here into the battle for the second position as Thomas Lewandowski is rapidly catching Larry Pace. The gap's down to about 0.4 of a second. I'll tell you what, I almost want to keep my I rating low just to do a bottom split Indy 500 when that comes back in May. Again, that sounds absolutely miserable. The gap between Buchberger and Pace is up to nearly 2 seconds as Lewandowski is catching in on the number 1 machine pretty darn quickly here. I want to remind everybody, next week we go back to our normal broadcast schedule where the Silver Crowns will air on Monday nights here on NRN, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be, I guess about 1:45 a.m. if you're on the GMT side of things. If you're out in Australia, consider it right around midnight or so, or excuse me, right around noon. If you're watching us from Australia, let me know in the comments. We will give you the special shout out here. Pace trying to hold off Lewandowski as we are inside of 10 laps to go here at Dover. Pace holds that bottom line. One of the things about the damage is it kind of slows down the car enough in a straight line that you can actually kind of keep it pinned to the bottom without having to lift. But Lewandowski looks like he'll be able to clear. Oh, maybe not, though. Pace again. He's able to keep the foot in it as they'll come around the 9 of Laura Gerhardt. The race that has only taken about 27 minutes or so to run. 70 plus laps here at Dover. The gap back to 4th place, James Watson, still 5.2 seconds. Pace doing his best to hold off Lewandowski. If these guys wad it up, it could be a podium finish tonight for Watson and Love. Lewandowski looks like he's going to get clear this time. Put your points leader back up into position number 2. And with 5 laps to go, this race is entirely in the hands of Brandon Buchberger unless we get a caution flag. There is one opportunity at an overtime finish here, as we'll slide back to this 4, 5, 6, 7 battle one more time. Not a whole lot going on here as these cars starting to catch up to Vic Aldrich to put him a lap down. This would be easily one of the, I want to say, happiest interviews, but Brandon Buchberger can be fairly chill in the interviews, almost down sounding. But it has been over a year since Brandon Buchberger has put a Silver Crown car in victory lane on the broadcast SOF race. And he is going to have to do just 2 more miles. The Dietz Farms guys convinced him to run the car this season. He was going to take a break. Maybe a good call by a bunch of buddies out there in Illinois, as Brandon Buchberger will come off at turn 4. See the white flag, 1 lap to go here at Dover. Only the lap car at Todd Taylor stands between Brandon Buchberger and the checkered flag, and quite frankly, I think he may be content to sit there. Off at turn number 4. Welcome back to victory lane, Brandon Buchberger. Picks up the first broadcast win of 2024 Season 1. Thomas Lewandowski and Larry Pace will complete the podium here this evening. This is going to be one jacked up race car driver. I can tell you that much. Brings that number 4 machine down, and it is time to make the donuts. While Brandon Buchberger deservedly burns the house down. Let's take a look at your race results. Buchberger, Lewandowski, and Pace on the podium. About 5 seconds back to James Watson in position number 4. Derek Love completes the top 5. Josh Batista, Jeffrey Stanton, Todd Taylor, Joe Gauthier, and Brian Elmore rounding out your top 10. Gauthier and Elmore both finishing 1 lap behind the race leader. Vic Aldrich in the 11th position, finishing 1 lap down. Laura Gerhardt 2 laps down in the 12th position. And Kyle Westwood going out very early in tonight's race. So while Brandon Buchberger brings that car back around here, we'll slow the replay down and we'll get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers here tonight. And we will bring into the booth Mr. Larry Pace and our 3rd place finisher tonight here, Larry. A fantastic battle up front with Thomas and Brandon throughout the race. Ultimately, a little bit of contact, putting some damage on the race car, but I have to say, I am pleasantly surprised with how quickly you were able to make that car go, even with a banged up right front. Congratulations.
So quick that he actually isn't Larry. It's Tom.
Oh my God. I dragged the wrong guy. Hold on. Let me grab Larry Pace. Holy crap. I promise I'll be good at my job someday. Larry Pace, I grabbed the wrong guy. I grabbed Thomas first. I wanted to say congratulations. It was a fantastic battle you had with both Thomas and Brandon. How did you keep the car as quick as you did with the damage you had on the right-hand side?
Well, the setup was pretty good. It was very easy to drive. Got a bit, and don't worry, by the way, I like Tom more than I like me anyway, so it's no problem you brought him up first. But yeah, this car was just very easy to drive. Setup was very good. Little snug through the center portion of the race, and that allowed Brandon to put me in the wall on exit.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because that is the exact opposite of what I felt driving this car in the 645. How much does the weather conditions play into that? Because we were a little bit hotter in that race. This track was still pretty hot though too.
Oh, it was definitely huge. I guess with the dynamic track, it does make a pretty big difference. And we were a little tighter than we were Monday night. I think it was a little hotter Monday night, and the setup was a little more suited for that kind of thing. So we were a little snug center portion of the race. So it definitely threw a curveball. Just had to adjust what we were doing and try to combat that. And yeah, I mean, I had Brandon on my bumper for I don't know how many laps. I was wondering if he was just pushing us out to a bigger lead, or if he was dumb enough or smart enough to know that I was eventually going to have to crack the throttle and exit and just wreck me and whatever. But yeah, that was it was fun regardless. I love coming out and running these things, and I will say, what you guys bring to the table with your broadcast is absolutely tangible compared to the showing on Monday night compared to tonight. So thank you guys.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Larry. And before we let you go here, do any of the sponsor plugs and shout outs you want to get in here too?
Nothing in particular. Just thanks as always to Thomas Lewandowski for the setup. He always throws me a bone when I see a track I want to race at. Everybody at the drill aisle. And once again, you guys. But yeah, have a wonderful night, and thanks again.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Now we'll bring in our runner-up finisher tonight here, Mr. Thomas Lewandowski, our second place finisher. I got to ask you, the car was so incredibly quick. We saw that in the 645. We saw it in the early part of tonight's race. Did the setup just go off a little bit at the middle point of the race or something? It kind of seemed like that was kind of where the fallback started.
Yeah, it was very bizarre because I ran the exact same setup as like the 645, and I had zero issues at all. Like, I was very, very happy. And for whatever reason, different track conditions, temperatures and stuff, and I just got super tight, super tight. And, I was racing, Brandon and stuff, pretty hard there. But I knew I didn't really have a shot at, keeping him behind me there. I was just trying to, try my best, maybe make him, force him into a mistake or something. But yeah, and then after they got past me, I just backed it down and, try to bring it home without hitting the wall.
Yeah, that becomes a big thing. And it's a big mental shift to make from going from battling hard to just saying, okay, I'm not even really hot lapping because everybody behind you continued to fall back. How difficult is it to try to make this car just cruise? Because it's not the easiest thing to drive.
No, it's definitely not, because if you try backing it down too much, it's not like, it doesn't really diminish your chances of wrecking. How the car rotates on throttle and stuff. Like, if you don't give it a throttle, it can easily, you could hit the apron because the car, rotates down too quickly, and that can obviously, cause a huge wreck. So you still have to be very conscious of what you're doing, but you just have to, that 5%, you just have to take out of it,
Yeah, I will say this. Nothing boring about this car. You will understand that reference from the race earlier tonight. But, man, Thomas, congratulations on the second place finish tonight. A very, very good points night with a strong SOF. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and shout-outs you want to get in here.
I'll just shout out to you guys for doing, amazing job with these broadcasts. And, Everyone over my drill out team speak. Larry, John, Marcus, Bob. These guys always watch these broadcasts and stuff, so we put on a pretty good show for them tonight. And hope everyone had a safe New Year, and we'll be back next week.
Absolutely. I will echo those sentiments. And once again, thank you very much, Thomas. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us up here in the booth. And now it's time to bring in the guy who will be easily the most excited we have ever heard him, I think. Brandon Buchberger, welcome back to Victory Lane. Congratulations. That number 4 machine was absolutely dominant tonight.
Oh, it was a rocket. I can't believe that. It held the bottom for 80 laps, and it was quick. I think everyone else was saying they're getting tight, and I didn't. I was just, man, that thing held the bottom, and man, that was fun. I was like 80 qualifying laps for me, though.
Yeah, and you did a lot of them right underneath the bumper of Larry. How difficult is that to know that potentially you're quicker than somebody is, and just kind of sit there and either wait for the mistake or wait for the right time to make the move?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for him to make a mistake, and he got loose off of 2 at one lap, and I got into him. I want to apologize for that, and it put him in the wall, and I think it hurt his right front. He I don't know. He thinks it could have been intentional, but I'm not trying to get a win that way. I don't want it that way, man. I want to win it straight up on speed. But I don't know, man. I have my Apple Watch on, and my heart rate was like 135 at the end of that race.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know how you can intentionally wreck somebody or move somebody at Dover in these cars without absolutely junking them. Because it is really a difficult place to get around, especially on the exit of the corners. You kind of go up and you hit that hump, and that's easy enough to unsettle the car. How much did you have to work the tools tonight to keep the car down on the bottom of the racetrack? Because that was something I noticed earlier tonight. It seemed like every couple of laps you were having to hit that weight jacker one way or the other.
Not too bad for me. I have something that was holding the bottom, and I made sure I had something where I could just, full throttle off the corner, not, de-wedge it at all to keep the gas, keep it planted. And I noticed Larry and Thomas were both kind of getting loose. And that's where I was making all my passes was, coming off the corner. They would get up and, they'd get a little bit loose where I can hold down and I can just throttle down. And I was waiting for Larry to get loose at one time, and it finally happened. And, I got in him. I want to apologize again, but I was just waiting because Larry is one of the best out here, and he rarely makes mistakes, and he's hard to beat. So is Thomas, and Thomas and I were battling pretty hard early, and I'm glad I didn't burn my tires up too much because I caught Larry from like a second back or so after that. I mean, I couldn't believe I caught him that quickly.
That car, like you said, it was an absolute rocket ship tonight. And it means we're going to put $50 onto the till for Driven to Save Lives. You were wondering if we were going to get one this year. Now they say when you get the first one, they come in bunches. What are your thoughts as we head off to Homestead next week? It's a half mile longer, but kind of a similar feel to it in these cars.
Very similar setup for there, but Thomas is really good there. So, and Derek was going to be really good there. It's not going to come easy. There's a lot of people that are really quick here. Like, I thought I had a pole winning car and I only qualified 6th, if that tells you how quick everyone is right now. Like, this is one of my best tracks, and I only qualified 6th. So,
it was, it was a fantastic drive tonight. The till is up to $55 heading off to Driven to Save Lives once we get to the end of the season. Brandon, congratulations once again on the win. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs, shout outs, and thank yous you need to get in here.
Okay, so this is going to be a long one because we picked up a sponsor this week, and we have some other things that happened. Dienst Farms. I'm getting my Black Dienst Farm hat. Scotty said if I get a win, I'm getting that Black Dienst Farm hat. So I want to thank Scotty, Bob, Nate, Madison. We're all down in Nashville for New Year's, and I promised them I'd get the win tonight, and I'm so glad I did. And while we were down there, we obtained a new sponsor while we were down there. So the Carolina Company Band that plays out in Nashville is going to be on our race car. I'm just waiting to get the decal so we can throw it on the car. So we're going to have a second sponsor on here.
You know what? That sounds good. Always nice when we get to add new logos to these liveries. Make sure you shoot that one over to me. We'll have that on for next week. Man, anybody else you want to say thank you to here, by the way, before we do the wrap up?
Oh man, I got a list. So this is an old Vinny Sansone set that him and I have ran for years, and it's basically our baseline everywhere. And it derived from this track, and I don't know what it is where it's so good here, but it's just a little bit off everywhere else. So I want to thank him for that. I want to thank you guys for obviously broadcasting every week. I think there's probably 10 or 12 of my friends that are now watching this every week. I don't know if you see how many people that watch this live anymore. I don't know. I'll take a look later, but oh man, there's a lot of people. I'm probably missing some people right now, and I'm sure my phone's going to blow up the second we're done with this and saying, "Oh, I got missed." So,
you know what? That's okay. You get to enjoy the thrill of victory, and you don't necessarily have to have the index card prepped with all the sponsor plugs and shout outs. I hate it when people do that. It sounds so canned and boring. All right, Brandon. Well, congratulations once again on the win. A big SOF night, too. I know you hate talking points, but man, a 39-26 SOF. That's a big one for you in terms of the point standings. Congratulations on that one. And, man, looking forward to doing more of these conversations as we go. Looking forward to talking to you again here just a little bit. But, man, alive, what a fantastic show we got out of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup here tonight from Dover Motor Speedway. Absolutely spectacular show. And we get another one coming up tomorrow night. The USF Pro, the artist formerly known as Indy Pro 2000, the PM18 cars, heading off to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That is going to be an awesome, awesome show. I cannot wait for that one tomorrow night. Big SOF I think we're going to see for that one. Next week, we come back Monday night. The Silver Crown cars will be back, and they head off to Homestead-Miami Speedway. That race will air 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the way, tomorrow night's race, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday night, it will be the Sprint Cars, the iRacing Sprint Car Cup, coming to you from South Boston Speedway. Another tight little bull ring as they work week number 5 of 12. I can't believe we're almost to the halfway point of 2024 Season 1. The year just started. Wednesday night, I want to say probably like 8 to 10-ish. We're going to start bottom split coverage. Me driving, Bizzle doing the talking. We're going to put something fun together for you guys. I guarantee you're going to enjoy that one. But keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. You'll see the post go up. I think we're going to do 8 to 10. And then Thursday night, the USF pros head off to Brands Hatch, but we got to get through Laguna Seca first tomorrow night. But with that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. For Bizzle, Watson, Seb, everybody here at the National Racing Network who helps us get these shows on the air. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.